guys, welcome to my channel, Crafting with Lee Marie. I thought I would do a whip and chat with you guys today. This is my first one. And kind of let you guys get to know me a little bit. I am still a relatively new channel, and so you guys don't really know me. So I thought you guys might like to get to know me. Sorry there. And so I am working on a Dreamer design canvas right now. It's a Chuck Pinson Isle of Palms, and it is a square. It is quite pretty, very confetti heavy, and if you don't know what that means there's lots of color changes in a section. I like confetti, but I also like color blocking, which is like a lot of one color. So anyways, the whole point of this whip and chat is for you guys to get to know me a little bit. I did look up some tag questions that I can answer. But before I get into that, a little bit more about me. So I am going by Lee Marie on my YouTube channel. That's not my real name, but it's kind of a nickname I've created for myself. One thing, I am a teacher. I teach 4th grade. I love what I do. It is a lot of fun. Obviously, with everything going on in the world with COVID-19, my job looks a little different right now. However, it is June 30th, the day I'm recording this. And so, I am actually on summer break, and my state, I live in the United States, my state chose not to make us come back early because honestly, it doesn't seem like they understand or know how to get all of our kids back in school safely, let alone the teachers. I'm hearing some different plans from around the state right now. It does make me a little concerned. Because obviously I worry about myself, but I worry about my kids. And I call my students my kids because I am with them for 6 hours a day. I typically see them for more waking hours than their parents do, Monday through Friday. And so, they are my kids. Speaking of kids, I do have 2 children of my own. I have a little boy who is 4 years old. 4 is a fun age. And boy, is he sassy. He has learned that he can, give his opinion on things, and he seems to think that his opinion is the only opinion that matters. I think that is just in 4-year-old territory. But anyways, he's a sweet, sweet boy. I think all 4-year-olds are probably sassy to a certain extent. He is my first 4-year-old, so I don't know. Any of you seasoned moms out there, let me know. Is your 4-year-old, or when they were 4, were they sassy too? Does it get better when they hit 5? And then I have a 1-year-old daughter. She is a little mini me, to be perfectly honest. My mom says that she reminds her of me so much. We just had her birthday this last weekend, and she decided to start walking 2 days before her birthday. So she's so much fun right now. Very opinionated, she's sassy in her own way too. She walks around the house. She's so cute. She walks around the house, and when she's happy, she's like, yay, yay. So it's super cute. I am married. I have been married for, I know how many years, 7 years this July. And I've been with my husband for almost 10 years. So we've been doing really good. I met him after I graduated in college, or after I graduated college and I moved back home. I live up in the Pacific Northwest. That's about as close to details that I'm going to give you. I live in Washington State in the Pacific Northwest. It's a beautiful area. I love it. We have a beautiful mountain, Mount Rainier, in our backyard. It's one of the most beautiful areas that you could ever imagine living in. I'm sure, obviously, there are more beautiful areas in the world, but it is beautiful. It does rain a lot, although we're getting ready to hit our dry season here. And so typically where I live, it rains, 10 months out of the year, and then we hit July and August and it doesn't rain for months. And everything dries out really quickly, and then we end up dealing with a lot of wildfires, especially over in the eastern part of our state. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to some of these questions. So it says, what is your full name? I won't give you guys my last name because I'm a teacher. I really don't want to share that information. But my first name is actually pretty unique. I don't meet many people with my first name, but my first name is Leanna, and my middle name is Marie. So I got Lee Marie from my first name and my middle name. The second question is actually, what does your name mean? And so in terms of what it means, I don't know, but I can tell you how I got my name. My mom actually kind of just thought up the name when my aunt was pregnant. She was hoping my aunt would have a little girl, and she came up with the name Leanna Marie. And the Lee comes from my Nana. She's no longer with us, but it was her middle name. And the Anna of Leanna, it's all one word, comes from my great-grandmother, Annabelle. And then the Marie comes from my great-great-grandmother. And so I have 3 generations of women in my name. And I know my mom, her middle name is Lee as well. And I actually gave that middle name to my daughter to carry on as well. So it's just a special name for us. Unfortunately, at this point in my life, my Nana and my great-grandmother, they're no longer with us. My Nana died just a few short days after my son was born. So we've been missing her for some time now. Let's see. Next question was, are you named after anyone? Well, I just kind of explained that, didn't I? Let's see. If you had to change your first name, what would you change it to? Honestly, at this point in my life, I am pretty set on my name. I love my name. It is unique. However, when I was a kid, I did not like my name because it was so unique. I didn't want to have a unique name. I wanted to have a common name like everybody else. And I think part of it was because people used to make fun of my name, call me Leanna Banana, things like that. My name, my first and my last name, my maiden name, they rhymed with a lot of things, and it just didn't make you love your name, Kids can be, and because I'm a teacher, I can say this, I love kids. They're fun, they're unique, but they can also be very cruel without meaning to be. So it's it's that fine line if you're a teacher, trying to teach them how to be compassionate and understand that our words and our actions do have consequences, and that we have to be careful with what we say because we can't take them back. And so, yeah, it's a minor thing, but I know as a kid, all the teasing over my name did affect me. And so I used to dream that my name was like Elizabeth or something else that wasn't quite as unique as what I have. Now that I'm older and I know how common some of those other names are, I do like my unique name. And nowadays, everybody names their kid super unique names. I know both of my kids have unique names. My son has a nice kind of old school Irish name. excuse me. And my daughter, she just has a fun little upbeat name that I love. Let's see. Where are you from? Well, I am an Army brat. My dad served in the Army for over 20 years, and so I am from all over. We lived in Washington, California, North Carolina, Idaho, New York, Ohio. I don't know if I mentioned that. So we kind of lived all over the place. We did spend most of our time in Washington, which is, where I currently live. And yeah, so I would say I'm kind of from all over the place. Sorry, a lot of talking. Let's see. Where were you born? I was born in California. I actually went back to school in California, just because that's where my godmother was at the time, and it was a good school, and I had gotten into it, so I went ahead and went to sunny California, and I enjoyed it. Let's see. I'm going to skip some of these questions because they're a little repetitive. Let's see. What are your best characteristics? Oh, that's a tough one. I am not good at saying kind things about myself. So that's probably not one of my best characteristics there. I would think that I'm a pretty good listener. And I try to be kind, and open-minded. Sometimes in my line of work, when we deal with the same kind of stuff with administration, it can be kind of hard to be positive. But, especially with everything with COVID right now, and then not knowing what schools are going to look like, except the fact that, we'll have to wear a mask all day next year. It's tough. I don't like it, but I'm trying to remember that it's for safe reasons. So, I try to stay positive. I have a co-teacher. She does an excellent job of helping me do that. Another good characteristic, for me, at least with my work job, I am quite good at leadership roles. I love taking any opportunity to grow as a leader and serve my school and my students. So that's one positive characteristic. And I'm a go-getter. If I want to do something, if I want to work on something, not a lot is going to stop me from doing what I want to do. I work really hard to achieve what I want. And so, yeah, I think that's one of my best characteristics is that if I want something, I'm going to work until I've got it. I don't give up easily. Which of your parents are you closest to? That's interesting. Let's see. Honestly, it's my mom. I love both of my parents, obviously. They are both still married and all of that. But because my dad was in the military, my mom was my constant caretaker, all throughout my childhood. She was, my closest confidant. She still is. We have a really good relationship. Those teenage years were pretty rough, but I think no matter who you are, your teenage years are pretty rough with your mom. I could be wrong, but I know mine were. But as I went off to college and I realized, oh, yeah, my mom isn't trying to ruin my life. When I came back and, as I was in college, we definitely got close. And I talk to her every day. I'm sure she gets annoyed hearing from me. But I know if I don't text her or I don't call her, she's like, where are you? Are you alive? So I know she likes hearing from us, even if I do annoy her sometimes with my frequency. So yeah, I'm definitely close to my mom. I'm working on building my relationship with my dad. I love my dad. I just, he was gone a lot, and that's just the nature of the job he had. It's not anyone's fault. He served our country, you know? So it's not anything I'm upset or angry about at this point, because it is what it is. I know when I was a teenager with 9/11 and all of that, and when he went overseas, I was pretty angry. And I wasn't necessarily angry at him. I was angry at the situation. I know after 9/11, when the US did invade Iraq, I didn't see my dad for 18 months. So that was tough. It was just me and my mom and my brother. So yeah, kind of, is what it is. All right. Which of your parents are you more alike? That's an easy one. I am very much like my mom. I look like her, kind of act like her. We definitely can butt heads sometimes because we are very alike. We definitely have different points of views on things, but that's okay. She's actually in education too. She works in resource, so that's pretty cool. So we kind of went in similar career paths. Let's see. Next question is, are your grandparents still married? Well, on my dad's side, no. They split when my dad was a kid. I know my grandfather did remarry, and he is still with his wife. My grandmother on my dad's side, she never remarried. And then on my mom's side, my original set of grandparents, they are not married. Like I mentioned earlier, my Nana, she did die a few years ago. But she was still married to my grandfather when she passed, so I'm sure if she was still around and he was still around, he died, I think, a year ago, they would probably still be married. They'd been married for quite some time at that point. Let's see. Let's see. What is your best physical feature? I would have to say my eyes. I have blue eyes, but they do change color depending on what I'm wearing. So they can be like a vibrant blue if I'm wearing like purples and blues, or they can kind of turn like a grayish color. Greens bring out my eyes too, but I like my eyes. I think that's my best physical feature. I also really like my nose. I've never ever wanted a nose job. I think I have a pretty cute nose personally. My husband agrees. Although I would hope he'd agree since, he's my husband. Let's see. What has required the most courage of you in your life so far? Well, that's an interesting question. I'm not sure. I think one of the things that probably, because I am so close to my mom, one of the things that did require a lot of courage, but I was ready for it, was to go away from home for college. I ended up going across the country because at the time my parents were living in Ohio. I did not like Ohio. I did have a entry to a school in Michigan, and I'm sure I could have gotten into a school in Ohio, but I didn't like Ohio, to be perfectly honest. It was not my favorite place to live growing up. I was only there for one school year and then a few summers. But I mean, my mom, she had to drop me off at my godmother's a few days before college. She wasn't able to actually move me into my dorm because she had to get my grandmother home. But like that was like honestly one of the scariest times of my life. Just because I'd never done anything on my own. I mean, I had worked, I'd had a job, but to move to a state I didn't really know, to not have transportation, and then going to college it was just big. And then I think equally what was hard is after college, making that decision to not stay in California and actually moving up here to Washington and not knowing, how I was going to get a job up here in education, not knowing anybody up here really except my parents. When I entered the education field, it was a time where there weren't a lot of jobs. And so I actually had to sub for a few years before I got my own classroom. And now at this point, there's so many jobs. We actually have a teacher shortage. So it's like, I think it was all those college professors saying, don't sign up for teaching because there's no jobs. And now there's tons of jobs, but we have no teachers. Thanks, professors. You really did us a solid one there. But I mean, in all seriousness, it was just, I think those were some times where, I definitely needed courage. Let's see. Some of these other ones, my favorite actor. Ooh, I am really bad with names. I'm really bad with like pop culture. My favorite actor. Growing up, it was definitely George Clooney and Richard Gere. But I think it was more because I had crushes on them. I kind of had a thing for the graying men. But I mean, honestly, they were back in the 90s and the early thousands. They were quite sexy people. So, yeah, I would say those were probably some of my favorite celebrities. Nowadays, let's see, one of my favorite actors was Kit Harington. I really like the series Game of Thrones. I don't know for the life of me what his name is. I'm sure I could look it up real quick. But I'm obsessed with, during the closure, I started watching Once Upon a Time. And I am obsessed with the actor that plays Killian Jones. Probably because I think he's gorgeous. Let's see. I think it is this. Yeah, Colin O'Donoghue. My husband, he knew the name right away. But yeah, I pretty much love him right now. If I could find a diamond painting of him, I would be in heaven. I looked. I couldn't find one. Don't tell my husband. But yeah, I really liked him in Once Upon a Time. And honestly, he's really nice to look at. So, let's see. My favorite actress would honestly probably be right now or in the last few years, Jennifer Lawrence. I think she's been pretty amazing. She started off in the Hunger Games, and then she had some really amazing roles outside of that. Roles that just kind of, really showed that she was quite a, what's the word I'm looking for? An actress that could really do different types of roles. So she's really amazing. So I really like her. Let's see. My biggest accomplishment would definitely probably be my children. They are my world. I love them so much. My biggest fear. My biggest fear is a house fire. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. But I have an irrational fear that the house is going to burn down in the middle of the night when we're all sleeping. We have fire ladders and all of that stuff, like you should have in a 2-story home. But yeah, that is my biggest fear. It always has been. Even when we lived in a Rambler, my biggest fear was that we would have a fire in the middle of the night and not be able to get everybody out. Let's see. My biggest regret. What is my biggest regret? I honestly don't really feel like I have one. I mean, I feel like in life, you just have to kind of roll with everything. You make your choices. And then, yeah, you kind of have to live with them. Yeah, you can, I guess, have some regrets. But, I mean, I don't have any big regrets. I married my husband. We have a beautiful family. I have a great job that I love. Yeah, I don't have any regrets in my life, which is good. I mean, you don't want to have regrets in your life, right? You don't want to end your life with regrets. I mean, I guess one regret could be that I didn't travel more before we had our children. I've only been out of the country once, and that was to Jamaica for my honeymoon. My husband, he's gotten to go to the Netherlands a few times for work. Super jealous. But being a teacher, I wasn't able to go with him. Plus, we had kids at that point. But I mean, I guess I just wish we had traveled more because we had been together for quite some time before we actually had children. So yeah, I guess that would be my one regret right now. But honestly, I mean, in a few years, once my youngest is a little bit older, we plan, and once hopefully this pandemic is over and countries will start letting the U.S. in again, we plan to start traveling again for sure. We want to take the kids places. We want to be able to show them the world if we can. One big component of being able to do that, of course, is them both being out of daycare. Me and my husband, we both work, but we live in an area where daycare is very expensive. And so we have 2 children under 5 that are in daycare. And because in-home daycares won't take infants, we actually, typically in our area, we have our daughter in a center and we have our son in an in-home daycare. So they're at 2 separate daycares because it's more cost effective that way, surprisingly. And so, yeah, we need both kids out of daycare so we can do things. That has been one nice thing about the being able to work from home is that I was able to keep my daughter home with me. And my husband, he's working from home too. And so we were kind of able to kind of spend some extra time with our daughter and save some money on her daycare, which was really nice. It really helped. Let's see. What is your favorite musician? I don't really have one, to be perfectly honest. I listen to all kinds of music. There isn't one artist that I'm like, oh, I love that artist. But yeah, I listen to everything. I like all kinds of music. So yeah, I don't really have a quote unquote favorite. Let's see. What is your favorite color? My favorite color is purple. I love all shades of purple. I also love blue. Purple and blue, those are my favorite colors. So when I see those in the drills, when I'm diamond painting, I'm like, yes, 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 I love those colors. So those are definitely my favorite colors. Let's see. My favorite drink, honestly, Coca-Cola or coffee. I was drinking a lot less coffee before I had my last child. The 2 children definitely have increased my intake of coffee quite a bit. So I do drink quite a bit of coffee. The day can't really start until I've had at least 2 large cups of coffee. And then I do like Coca-Cola. I don't like Pepsi products at all, but I like Coke. It's funny how some people like Coke and some people like Pepsi. I cannot do Pepsi. I find it disgusting. So if I go to like a restaurant and they only have Pepsi products, I have to do like a Sierra Mist or something because I can't do Pepsi. It's disgusting. Let's see. What is my favorite fairy tale? My favorite fairy tale, let's see. I would say Cinderella. At least it was growing up. I really just enjoyed that story. Don't know why. Now they have so many amazing, like, I mean, if we're talking Disney fairy tales, there's so many amazing fairy tales or stories out there now where a man doesn't have to save you, and so I kind of like those ones too. Kind of gives a different kind of point of view of things, so I like that. Let's see. So on my canvas, I'm just kind of, because it's so confetti heavy, I'm just picking out the colors that kind of speak to me, that kind of jump out at the canvas at me. So if you see me kind of like, oh, what color do I want to do next? That's what I'm doing, is I'm looking to see which one is sticking out to me next. And I'll probably be doing that a lot with this canvas just because it is super, super confetti heavy. But it's super pretty. It's very pretty. Let's see here. What is your favorite ice cream flavor? My favorite ice cream flavor is by Ben & Jerry's. It's called the Tonight Dough. It's got chocolate and vanilla and cookie dough and this really good chocolate cookie crumble in it that is to die for. I actually have some in my freezer downstairs that I totally want to finish now. But yeah, that's my favorite ice cream in the entire world. I love it. I tried some other flavors, but it just doesn't compare, to be perfectly honest. Let's see. What is your favorite physical activity? Does sitting on the couch count? But no, seriously. Physical activity. I like to walk when the weather's nice. My husband and I, before we had kids, it's been a long time since we've done it, we like to go on like hikes. We had to do very gentle hikes because of my knees. I have arthritis in my knees. I literally have like no cartilage between my legs, my leg joints and my knees. Super fun. But you know, I enjoyed doing like simple, low impact hikes with him. I do enjoy swimming, although I'm not very good at it. But I like to be in the water as long as I can touch the bottom of whatever water I'm in, whether it's a river or a pool or a lake. As long as I can touch the bottom, I'm good. I've always been super afraid of deep water. I guess that would be another big fear of mine. Which is really funny because like my mom even paid for swimming lessons when I was a kid. It's just not something I'm very coordinated at. I'm sure at this point, if I had to, I could probably, swim enough to save my life. but it's just not something I like to do. All right, let's see here. What is your favorite way to pass the time? My favorite way to pass the time is honestly diamond painting right now. Watching Once Upon a Time on reruns, because I have no life apparently. Playing with my kids. They are pretty awesome. But also, and this is like gonna like really show my nerdy side here. I love to read fan fiction for Harry Potter. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. And so I like to read fan fiction. Sometimes I almost feel like the fan fiction, depending on the writer, is a little bit better than the series. But yeah, it's something I like to do. So let's see here. Let's do the purple color. Let's see, my favorite time of day. My favorite time of day is either the morning time before the kids wake up, where it's super quiet. I can watch the news. I can drink my coffee, check my messages for the day, just kind of chill before the chaos ensues when my kids wake up. They're young and they're everywhere and into everything, and you know, they're kids. What are you gonna do, right? So my other favorite time of day is bedtime for them, because that is when I can sneak upstairs and diamond paint. Sometimes on the weekend during nap time and whatnot, I sneak up here and I'll diamond paint while they're sleeping. But for the most part, the only time I get to diamond paint is in the evening time, which is fine. It's a great way to kind of unwind from the day and kind of mellow out if it's been a rough day, you know, because sometimes days are rough. It happens, right? So yeah, those are kind of my favorite times of days is, you know, and I love whenever my children slow down enough to let me cuddle with them. They are both so busy. It seldom happens, but usually it's always at the same time they both want cuddles. And I think they do that on purpose because they know, you know, my lap is only so big. I try to make room for both of them, but then they just fight. And, you know, it's like, how do you tell a 1-year-old, no, it's not your turn, right? So, but yeah. Let's see. And then, what is your all-time favorite town or city and why? So, I don't tend to go to the cities a lot. I don't like to be around a lot of people. But I do love to travel up to Seattle. I don't live too far from it, but I love to travel to Seattle and kind of play tourist for the day and go to the Pike's Place Market and do kind of some of the touristy things and check out some of the local restaurants. My husband and I, once in a while, we used to do it a lot before the kids were born, but we'd go up to like the shows in the theater. There's some, you know, see Wicked and some of the big shows. I think the last big one we saw, I was pregnant with my daughter. Super uncomfortable. But we went and saw Lion King. So that was amazing. My mom had taken my son for the night, and so we got to have a nice little night by ourselves and got to go see the Lion King. It was super fun. My other city that I love is San Francisco. I've been a few times to San Francisco, and I am just, when I go, I am always in awe of the size of the city and just the diversity. It's amazing how many different types of things there are there. Seattle's kind of the same way, but San Francisco's so much bigger. And so I really like San Francisco as a city. I definitely want to go back and explore some more. I've been on 2 different occasions that I can remember. Once with my childhood, not my childhood, but my college best friend, and then once with the old boyfriend. But I mean, each time it was just so much fun to just go explore the city. The architecture was amazing. The tourist spots were fun. So much different food. I remember when we went to that area, we went to Chinatown, and we were just so amazed by the amount of people in this area, and the fact that there were so many people in the area. People just walked in the street. There weren't cars in the street, really. There were people. I mean, there were cars, but there was just a lot of people in the street of Chinatown. And I remember being amazed watching an ambulance attempt to get through Chinatown with all the traffic and all the people. And I was just amazed. And I was just like, man, that takes some guts to be a paramedic in San Francisco. Like, for reals. I don't think I could do it. So they definitely are great drivers, that's for sure, if they can kind of handle that kind of stuff. All right, one last question, and then I think I'm going to end that here for tonight. Let's see. What's your favorite place to take an out-of-town guest? So, one of my favorite places to take an out-of-town guest is, it's cliche, but we love to take them up to Seattle and show them around up there because, you know, there's so many amazing sights and things to see up there. So Seattle's definitely one of the areas that we love to take our out-of-town guests when we have them. It doesn't happen very often, to be perfectly honest, but it's happened a few times. And then the other place we like to take them is to a town over the mountains called Leavenworth. People come from all over the place, all over the world, to this little town. And so this town was a town that was failing many years ago. And so they rebranded themselves as a German tourist town. And so the entire building, or the entire town, the downtown town, has like German facades and German themed food and just all kinds of fun tourist shops. But it's also where a lot of the wine tasting from Eastern Washington happens. And so a lot of the wineries in Wenatchee and other places in Eastern Washington come to this little town to sell their wine. And so it's really fun to kind of shop around the kitschy little shops and to kind of just see what's going on there. Alrighty, so those are my 2 favorite places to take out-of-town guests here. Alrighty, so I'm going to stop this here. It is getting kind of late here, and honestly, I'm not sure how long I've been chatting here for, but I did quite a few questions. So hopefully you've gotten to know me a little bit better, and you don't find me like an annoying person or whatnot. So hopefully if, you know, you liked what you heard tonight and you enjoyed working along with me on your project while I chatted, you'll hit the like button and go ahead and subscribe to my channel so you can catch the next one. Alrighty, so see you guys later. Bye.